Well, all right, everybody, welcome. And thank you for joining us as we share some insights on one of our great schools in China, Basis International School, Nanjing. My name is Tim Smith, and I'll be hosting the event. And we'll be going through a number of things relative to the school and our organization as a whole. Today, we'll cover insights about Basis International Schools. We'll be touching on details of Basis International School Nanjing specifically, and then we'll cover aspects of the benefits and visa requirements, details about the expat package that we do have, and then we'll also have Q&A at the end. So as we go through, if there's questions that you do have, feel free to submit your questions to us, the Q&A button at the bottom. We'll keep an eye on that and answer questions as they come. And with that, we'll go ahead and get things started. So today, again, my name is Tim Smith, and I'm the Vice President of Global Talent Strategy for Basis International Schools. We'll be joined today by Jamie Davis, who is the Vice Head of School at Basis International School Nanjing, and my colleague, Michael Holtquist, international recruiter who specifically works with our school in Nanjing, will also be with us as well. So to share some insights about Basis International Schools, I can share that our schools are part of the Basis Curriculum Schools Network. The network comprises 9 international and bilingual schools. 8 are in China. We have 1 international school in Bangkok, Thailand. And those are combined with 6 independent schools in the United States as well. All of the schools use the Basis curriculum, which we'll touch on in just a bit. And it's a common tie that we do have across all of the schools, where teachers in the network are able to communicate, share ideas, share plans and strategies as they participate in teaching the same courses across the curriculum. In terms of the curriculum, our curriculum is something that's a little bit more accelerated than what you typically see. It's something where we really are focused on helping students in the primary grades really establish that love of learning. And we carry that on into the middle school grades, where they're enhancing the academic mindset and really trying to build the skills that we think are pretty important as they move forward in their future academic as well as careers. We want to see students building their critical thinking skills, creative problem solving. I think the curriculum also establishes paths to where they're able to build up a lot of resilience, which is a skill set that is really proven out to be one of the most determining factors as people move forward in determining success. And then as they get into the high school grades, we're really fostering college readiness. Students participate in AP courses as well as post-AP courses and capstone courses beyond that. So we kind of describe our curriculum as an AP-infused liberal arts curriculum, really focusing on students to be really prepared for a university experience as they do move on beyond our schools. In terms of the results that our curriculum has driven, one of the things that we do see in terms of that college readiness, the results have been pretty impressive. We've had over 95% of our graduates have been accepted into top 50 universities, and 77% have been accepted into top 30 programs. So that includes programs that you see here: Boston University, Cornell, Duke, MIT. We've had some students go to Rice, University of Oxford, University of Toronto, and some great arts and design schools as well, like Rhode Island and schools in Chicago. In terms of what stands out, what may be different or attractive about teaching with Basis International Schools, when I have conversations with teachers and ask what it is that really kind of attracted them to Basis or what kind of caught their eye, they also always speak about the collaborative learning environment, the colleagues they work with. One of the things that we're focused on as we really do go deep in subjects and are focused on subject mastery, we look for individuals who have deep, rich knowledge of their subject and very kind of have that excitement and the passion for their subject. And so being able to work with people who are very knowledgeable, talented, and passionate about teaching is something that they've really enjoyed. Again, it's an academic culture. We do have high expectations. It really encourages achievement, as well as a great collaborative approach to helping students achieve their greatest potential. One of the other things that teachers have mentioned is being a part of the BASIS network has created opportunities for individuals to take on new responsibilities, take on new roles. As we continue to grow, you do have that opportunity to either take a position at a school in a new location, or take on a position of greater responsibility in developing your own career aspirations. So being with BASIS offers a pathway to fulfill some of those career desires that you might have. And of course, lastly, one of the greatest things I always hear about is the BASIS students. They're very engaged, they're motivated, want to excel. I've heard from multiple teachers that we do have teachers. Everybody offers student hours, similar to office hours you might see at a university, and they say the students come. They want to gain those additional insights and have the additional time with the teacher, and they really appreciated that and have just loved the way that students are engaged and really want to learn. So a couple of things. Why China? One of the things that we've seen is there's just a tremendous convenience of modern living that China has to offer. Very modern cities with cutting edge technology. The cities are very safe. It's a very safe environment. And convenient transportation, whether it's low cost flights around China or other parts of Asia, or even the high speed trains. You're able to get to different parts and see great areas throughout Asia, and specifically in China, that are pretty convenient. Something else that stands out, that a lot of people have mentioned, is that because the culture so deeply values education, respects teachers, there's tremendous amount of support that the teachers do have and feel and see from the families, from the students, and certainly from the school overall. Being appreciated really brings, I think, a great sense of satisfaction in the work that we do as educators, and certainly being able to experience a new culture, as we many individuals have come from Western countries. Being able to experience insights of Western merging Western ideology with Eastern experience is something that's also been a great enhancement to people's experience of living abroad, particularly living in China. In terms of what we're focused on, and this comes down to the mission of BASIS International Schools, which is really providing students with a transformative education with BASIS curriculum, and through exceptional teaching and faculty mentoring. We're really looking to help students graduate that have broad intellectual capabilities, international perspectives, and have the skills we think are really important: critical thinking proficiency, problem-solving skills, to really help them be leaders in their future academic and professional lives. Some things I think are important to know in considering a career with our international schools in China is, number one, is the schools do have mostly local students, which means that the vast majority of students, English is a second language for them. So being aware of what that means in terms of lesson planning, lesson delivery, being able to integrate ELL or ESL types of components into the lesson is really important. Also, something that's important is, many of our schools are newer and are growing rapidly. That being the case, there's a fair bit of change that you will see. A school that opens with 300 or 400 students and quickly grows to be 800 students, it'll look different in a couple of years from when the school initially opened, what the experience was if you're a founding faculty member. And being able to have the flexibility and work through some of the change, and knowing things are going to be changing, being excited for some of that development is something that is pretty important as well. Lastly, something that is really important is also that any accompanying students should be ready for a BASIS education. Again, our curriculum is it's accelerated and it is rigorous. Typically, at most grade levels, we're one, and in some subjects maybe 2 grade levels ahead of what is traditionally considered standard. And so we want to make sure that not only are we looking for great teachers that are going to be a good fit in our program, but the school and what we're offering needs to be a good fit overall for a family and for your students. We do believe it's an exceptional education, and but it is accelerating, it is rigorous. You just want to make sure that your students are ready for the type of education and curriculum that we do have within our schools. With that, we do want to delve into more of the details of Basis International School Nanjing. So we'll bring in Jamie Davis. So Jamie Davis is the vice head of school at Basis International School Nanjing, one of the founding members of the leadership team there. And Jamie, thanks for taking time to join us, and love to hear what you want to share about your school.
Yeah, no, thanks for inviting me along, Tim, and good morning or good evening or good afternoon. At this point, I'm getting practiced at greeting people in various aspects of the two-dimensional world that is my computer screen. So thank you for coming along. We're really proud of Basis International School Nanjing. My hesitance in my speech right now has to do with how proud I want to express what we have here on this campus and the pride that we hold with what we do. We're a proud part of a network, but at the same time, Nanjing is one of the most unique campuses and communities that I think anyone experiences. We have grown in our first 3 years from the ground up. And you look at the pictures on the screen, and these are just a couple of snapshots of what the structures look like, but at the same time, what we're about are the people that are here. I think that Nanjing is one of the best places for anybody to start a career in China. This is my first job in China, and I've been international for more than the latter half of my career. And it's been an easy place to come in and settle and understand culture and become a part of this community. It's been nice. We're an hour from Shanghai. Tim mentioned bullet trains. We're a jumping off point for pretty much everywhere, with the benefit of being in a university town on the edge of the city, where you're a short metro ride into the beef of things. So I think that Nanjing is a place that offers people a chance to jump off into the world and see things with a little bit of comfort and a little bit of ease and a lot of family and a lot of support. We've been blessed to start from the ground up. This is my first attempt at being a founding member of a leadership team. And I, again, go back to the word that we're really proud of the culture and community that we've built. We're a community of learners, from the students to the teachers to the leadership team to the parents. This week on our own campus, we had Halloween, and Halloween is a massive event in the Basis International Schools China network. And we had 800 people on our campus, parents and students, till all hours of the evening. And our campus, if you look at those pictures on the screen right now, there was not 1 inch of those pictures that was not bleeding, and I'm going to use that word as a Halloween kind of pun, Halloween decor, enthusiasm, and energy. Haunted houses taking up an entire building on our campus, and parents had baked and cooked and made things that looked like they belonged on the Food Network. All of our parents were dressed in costume. Our faculty was dressed in costume. I was dressed as the Queen of Hearts, and I'm 6.5 feet tall and an ugly Canadian hockey player by trade, so that was very off-piste for me. But at the same time, what I'm talking about is the buy-in on our campus. I've told Tim and Michael this several times. What I want from our campus and the people on our campus is that people love being who they are while they're here. That's important. We want people that are enthused about being teachers, absolutely, enthused about their content, absolutely. But I want them to be enthused about who they are and who they are on our campus, because when they're here, my attitude in 20 plus years of education and the last decade in leadership has been that the best teachers are the people that really enjoy what they do. So when you look at the pictures on the screen now, we've got teachers that love being in the class, they love the students they have, and they're geared up to make things their own. we've just had a soccer tournament at one of the international schools in our province recently, and we had staff churning up, basically coming to the game on a weekend because it was our campus and it was our boys. I always hesitate in my role to put a possessive when it comes to staff, because I don't want people to feel like, this is my teacher or my, but the one thing that I've noticed in the last, definitively the last 2 months of our school year, is that I hear a lot more of our teachers taking possession over our students. And to me, it's a wonderful feeling to hear our students and our students calling it their campus, and our teachers calling them their students, and our deans calling them, that's my Tony. You hear that, and to me that really resonates as to the pride we hold in the campus and the community. When I look forward at how we're growing, we've grown from a founding year in 2019 where we had 300 students. We have over 500 students now. We're growing with leaps and bounds. Our admissions process is involving our teachers and our faculty and our leadership, and where we're really kind of building every little component of the campus. We have, I'm looking out the window of our 5th floor of one of our buildings, and we have 11 buildings on our campus, and they house all kinds of learning environments, from art to drama to music to math to science. And you look out on our sports field, which expands, I think, about 1/3 of our campus, which is, it's a phenomenal place to get. I laugh because it's when I get asked to speak about things, it's easy to go on and on and on about all of the wonderful things that go on our campus. But when I look at, talking to potential people that want to join our team, it's about that team, and it's about that wanting and desire to be the best person for the students that we're in front of. More often than not, we bring people onto this campus that are talented and qualified and have credentials. But the thing that puts us over the edge of wanting that person to join our team is that they're passionate about the students that have them as a teacher, that they're doing everything that they can to make sure that the learning is an experience that they're going to remember, and it's going to resonate, and it's going to grow, and we're going to see them turn students into not just people in their class, but part of their own community and their class. In our first year, we talked about the students and the classes being something that were really important in terms of our vision, but at the same time, our teachers are not just teaching in a classroom, they're teaching in a school, so that the walls of the school become a possession for them as well. I think that Basis Nanjing is, I know that we are a unique place. I know that we do things in a unique way. I think it's important that when people want to be a part of this community, that they're unique as well. I think it's important that they're coming in, and when I read the advertising material that we put out there for recruiting about teacher autonomy, I think that it is important. I think that teachers come in with the ability to create a learning environment that's reflective of who they are and the strengths they bring to the classroom and the passions that they bring to the classroom. But with that, I'll say that there's a lot of responsibility with that. It's not that you come in, you get, you're being given the keys to something and expected to walk away. We want our teachers to come in and be learners from the get-go. We want them to learn about their students. We want them to learn about the curriculum. But at the same time, we want them to learn about themselves and grow as a practitioner. I'm quite proud. In the middle part of my career, I was an instructional coach, and I got a chance to work with a lot of teachers. And one of the things I've learned is that we often don't reflect enough as practitioners, and we don't spend enough time looking in the mirror and making sure that what we're doing is getting better each and every day. And I think we're really proud of the fact, and again, I know we're really proud of the fact that our heads of division and our deans and our faculty chairs are active in the classroom and active in putting that mirror up in front of people so that they get better with their own practice. So I think that Nanjing is a place that you see a lot of smiles. You see a lot of tired eyes at the end of the day, because we work hard and we work long days, but at the same time, you look at, up in the top right corner, there's a couple members of our boarding team and our middle school team. Those aren't non-genuine smiles. Those are not non-genuine smiles. Those are absolute pleasure moments where you look at people and think, they are being who they want to be. When you look at our programs when it comes to ESL and English language learning, we're not ignoring it. We're embracing it, and we're making it a part of our culture. That we've heard the cliche over and over again on our campus that we're all English teachers, whether we're chemists or physicists or mathematicians. We are involved in reading and writing and speaking and listening and developing those skills. And it is a really easy place to invest yourself in. I will say this, to lose yourself in. My wife and I brought our daughters across to China, and we are in a place where we are happy as a family. My daughter's now gone off to university. We talk on FaceTime regularly. The internet's been wonderful, and the ability to communicate between China and North America is actually quite easy because it's 12 hours difference. And I've worked in the Middle East where we've had 7 hours difference, and that's a difficult challenge. So there's lots of little intricate details about being in China that have its benefit when you're international. Yes, it is a long way away from home, but at no point in time do I feel uncomfortable. I can get my ridiculous Canadian snacks on Taobao here at the snap of a finger, and groceries are delivered to my door. I think the one thing that my wife and I miss the most at this point is being able to push a grocery cart around a grocery store, because we don't ever have to do it anymore. So this place has become home, and it's again one of those places that the convenience of it sometimes becomes the thing that you depend on and you rely on and you embrace, and it's wonderful. And then you think, yeah, on a Saturday morning, and I can in Nanjing, I'm going to go downtown in Nanjing, find a Tim Hortons, which is a Canadian coffee shop, and go have a cup of coffee. By the way, a really bad donut. No offense to anybody out there that's going to invest in Tim Hortons in China, but the donuts are nowhere close to being what they should be in Canada. And to a Canadian occupier, that's important. So, yeah.
The important things.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, if you ever get, an itch to do some shopping cart pushing, next time you're back this way, let me know, and I'll give you my full shopping list to have that.
And that's the funny thing in all of the conversations I've had in the last half a dozen years with teachers that are considering coming across and abroad. It's interesting what you do miss, and a lot of the things you think you're going to miss out on or that are going to be difficult are not the difficult things. And to be honest, for me, again, it's silly, but a shopping cart is the oddest thing that I would. And again, we plan our meals on the internet now. On a Sunday night, you shop and boom, everything's delivered to your door. You don't go into the poultry section and go, oh, those chicken breasts look good, I'm going to have those today. Sorry, I'm
Great. Well, again, the convenience of living is very, very great. So in terms of living in Nanjing, what have you enjoyed about being in Nanjing specifically?
Nanjing is a really old city. That's the first thing that jumps off the page. Nanjing is one of the original capitals of China. I think it's one of the original 4 capitals of China. Yeah. Nanjing is a secondary city by definition by China, but to put that in context, there's about 9 million people here. So there's a great deal of folk around it, but we have the advantage of the fact that being a city, we have all of the things. We've got a Costco that's being built. We've got multiple massive shopping opportunities, but at the same time, there's not the traffic problems that you find in places like Shanghai or Beijing. That's the one thing that we notice, and we've got a few teachers that have come to us from Shanghai or Beijing. The traffic is so much better. The pictures on the screen right now, one of them is being taken from the city wall. We have a wall. It's not a great wall. It's a really good wall because the Great Wall is down near Beijing. But at the same time, it's an 850-year-old wall that spans 22 kilometers around the city, and you can walk the entire distance of it. We have history, and we have nightlife, and we have one of the biggest things I really like about our city is that we're in this little suburb of Shanghai called Xianlin, and it's the university town. And I was speaking to somebody yesterday and looking at one of the 5th floors of one of our buildings. I believe there's 11 universities around our campus. So the campus is in a place where we all live. We're all walking distance to our apartments. We have a shuttle bus that brings people in the morning that are too lazy or don't have enough caffeine intake to want to walk the 15 minutes to campus. My wife's one of those people, and I don't say that, but I'm saying it. But at the same time, you look out on the community, and it's a really young and vibrant community that we're in. But at the same time, there's no traffic to speak of, except on a Friday night when every university student's trying to go downtown to find a little bit of vibrancy to the life of the clubs and the restaurants and whatnot. Nanjing is an incredibly easy city to migrate. The metro is, I've been lucky enough to travel most of the world now, and my wife and family and I've always used the metro whenever we go from one city to the next. And here in this city, it is one of the cleanest metros and most effective and efficient metro systems. You can get downtown in 20 minutes for the equivalent of about 75 cents. It is nothing. Downtown, there's what I describe as like our little mini Times Square with the lights, and the Shinjuku area's got underground walking and malls and shopping, and the restaurants are from the west and from the east. There's a mixed bag. There's the museums are incredible. Like the life itself here is easy. My routine is I work a lot, but at the same time on a Monday to Friday night's my rest, and then Saturday morning my daughter and I will jump on the metro at 8 in the morning, run into downtown, have a Tim Hortons, walk around and get just a little bit of city culture. I grew up in a place where there were 200 people in 75 square kilometers. For the Americans, that's kind of like miles, but a little different, sorry. And at the same time, I really like the city life here because you go down, you get a little experience, you walk around, pop into we have vintage record shops, and we have underground art studios, and we have these hole-in-the-wall expat restaurants that have these little built-in subcultures, and you can get great pizza in the town. You get wonderful chicken wings, and you can get German food and French food and Mediterranean food, and it's all accessible by a metro that, again, costs all of about $2.50 to go round trip. It never costs very much money. And at the same time, if you want to jump out of the city, you've got an international airport that'll take you anywhere. And at the same time, Shanghai is one of arguably the biggest 3 cities in the entire world. And it is an hour and a half by bullet train down the road. And you can go down, and we have a train that actually leaves Xianlin now, our community, which is a 5-minute DD ride from our school. Jump into the train on a Saturday morning, be in Shanghai by lunch hour, have your fun, eat it too, and then come back the next day around noon hour, and you're back in your home by 2 in the afternoon. It's hard to describe how easy it is to live here. And again, as a country bumpkin, I wear my beard proudly. I have to refine it much more than I've done in the past years. But at the same time, Nanjing is an easy place to grow as a person, to grow as a family. But at the same time, if you're a young or an older person that's looking for that social life and that expat opportunity, it's in spades. It's an absolute spades.
That's great. Anything else about as we're talking about individuals that you're looking for as the school continues to grow and we're adding some more teachers in? Anything else that you would say? You touched on a few things that you're looking for. Anything else that you would want to say, though, in terms of what you're looking for in teachers to join the community?
Yeah. My running cliche with teachers is I want people that are agile. That's really what I want to see from our staff. People that are coming in wanting to get their hands dirty in the campus and being ready to be a part of what we're doing. And when we look at core curricula, we're going to be looking this year in our 3rd year because we're expanding again, and our high school is going to expand. We're running quite a vast AP calendar coming up into our 3rd year. This is really where we're going to see a big bump. We're up to grade 11 this year, and grade 12 next year will be our first graduating class. And we're going to be looking at how our elective schedule works. We were really aggressive with how we created our calendar for students in the last 2 years, where we have prioritized our lab opportunities for the sciences. And we've taken our schedule and modified more than one school in the BASIS network that is focused on double blocking AP classes so that they get a chance once a week to have lab opportunities. So as we grow, we're going to see our AP lens grow infinitely. In our middle school is now blossoming out where we're starting to see multiple sections, 3 sections of classes at a time per grade cohort, which is meaning that people are coming in and getting a chance to really dive into their classwork. So that means that if you're a physicist or a mathematician, you're going to get a chance to really focus in on 1 or 2 courses and really dive into that preparation. So the really nice thing about what's going on in Nanjing is that the opportunities are allowing teachers to come in and be a part of something where they're not going to be teaching a real mixed bag. It's going to be that if you're going to be a math teacher, we're going to get you to focus in on Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 if you're a middle school mathematician. If you're going to be into the high school, we're going to be focused in on that person that's capable of really diving into AP, whether it's the statistics, the calculus, our physicists. We've got 2 wonderful physicists in our high school right now, and they're diving into how we're structuring our APC physics, which is something that you can put out there in multiple ways. I think that we want people that have a real sense of their impact on curriculum and on content, because I meet a lot of people that are really qualified, people that have a great degree from a university, but I'm not sure they're passionate about their subject. And that to me is one of the things I want to really drive out there, is that it's great that you have what you perceive as talent or you have perceived as qualifications, but I want to know that you are actually passionate about the kids first. And the second thing is that you're passionate about driving that subject for those kids. I think the one thing I've learned in my first 3 years in Nanjing is that there's a lot, I've never heard the word PPT used more often and in ways that I don't like. So what I want is not somebody that's going to come in and show me their PPTs. I have no interest in what goes on that 2-dimensional screen on the wall. What I want them to talk about is the how they're teaching and the why they've chosen to teach things in a certain way with those classes. Every interview we do, every single one comes down to one question at one point or another, and that's differentiation and scaffolding of materials. What skill set are you bringing to the table where you're going to get a unique set of learners who have English language as their second language in most cases and need that teacher to be there to support and structure those lessons in a way that are going to be successful for the students in front of them. And we have absolutely incredible talent here and support structures. We have 5 ELL teachers on our staff that are spread across our campus to support with that reflective process with both students and teachers, with the intervention process with both students and teachers. So we want people that are coming in ready, capable, and then at the same time willing to grow, willing to receive feedback, and willing to be a part of the coaching process so that they're looking at themselves as somebody that actually wants to grow as well. And I think those are the people that have succeeded. And we have worked really hard this year to make sure the people that we've had for the first 3 years that have been really fully invested in that process are rewarded and want to stay a part of that team and grow within it, because this is our first year where we've had a middle leadership team. Our faculty chair group is growing. We're again really proud of our identity, our communication with our parents, our understanding of what our community wants from us, because in the end, we are a school and we are here for the students and not for our CV and our next step in the process. So again, it comes down to people that want to be who they are here.
That's great. Great. Yeah, really like you touched on the student engagement, really working with those students. That's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Mike, do you want to, we'll have Michael touch on the expat package and what does the schools offer?
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, so I'm going to go over kind of the basics of the expat package and let you know what to expect if you do come and join us here at Basis International School Nanjing. And so, as kind of in addition to a very generous salary, we do provide travel benefits, both travel benefits to and from China, beginning and end of your assignment there, as well as a yearly travel allowance as well. You can use to travel either back to your home country or elsewhere around the world if you choose to use it that way. We'd also provide you and your family housing. It could be anything from a studio or a 1-bedroom apartment for an individual teacher to a 2-bedroom apartment for a teacher with children coming with them. as well as also an option as well for a stipend. You said, hey, I'd really like to find my own apartment. This area of Nanjing I just find incredibly attractive to be in, and that's what I want to go to. There's a stipend for you as well to use that if you decide to. We'd also provide health and tuition coverage for you and your family. We provide a tuition waiver for up to 2 children, so that way they can go to school with you there in Nanjing, as well as global health coverage for you and your family as well, covering you both there in China as well as in your home country. And we've seen most of our teachers do is they tend to keep their primary care physician in their home country. They tend to go back there for more extensive procedures and then use the Chinese insurance for day-to-day issues. And there in China, the insurance covers what's called the VIP clinics and the luxury hospitals. So that's kind of the English-speaking clinics, and the hospitals like kind of we're used to elsewhere around the world. And being in a university area, there is some just absolutely incredible health facilities there in that area. They're available for you and your family. There's also a 10% retirement bonus. So here at Basis, we have teachers from all corners of the world. So we want to make sure we had a retirement bonus that really worked well for everybody. So every year, our teachers do receive a 10% bonus on their salary, designed for them to put away for their eventual retirement. And then at the end of that assignment, there's a 3-year assignment, there's a completion bonus. It is a $16,000 completion bonus. But ideally, we'd love teachers to stay with us here at Basis. There's also the ability to transfer between schools and stay there in Nanjing. So at the end of that assignment, if you're like, hey, Nanjing is really where I want to stay and continue to be, there's additional bonuses for years after that, as well as also the opportunity to go to other schools and continue your career and especially help open up these new schools around China. Or if you said, hey, I'd like to come back to the US, there's a way to come bring that knowledge you gained working with your colleagues from around the world back to these US schools, because that international approach, those international colleagues are some of the most incredible things that I think you do get working international school, is you do work with colleagues from all corners of the world, and every single approach does some things really well and other things it struggles with. And we want to get that blend together to figure out what's this blend of all these different approaches to best support those students. So that was kind of a very quick rundown of kind of these different components of that expat package that teachers do receive with us. Which kind of leads into what are we looking for here as teachers? So first off is we are looking for teachers that really are experts in their field. So we are looking for teachers that do have that degree in their subject area. Not only because with that degree, you can go very deep in the subject, but like Jamie was talking about, it's if you got a degree in a subject, you put in a lot of effort and something that you're excited about. And when students can see that their teacher is so excited about what they're teaching, that excitement just bleeds over into the students. It gets them excited about learning it themselves. We're all looking for teachers that have at least 2 years of full-time teaching experience. And that's to make sure we can get all our teachers the correct Z visa. We are looking for teachers that can help these students achieve these high standards that they're looking for. But like Jamie said, it's not about just here's these high standards. It's about making sure that we as teachers can differentiate and scaffold that and build these footholds in for students so they can reach those levels that they're looking to get to. And to do that, it is a lot of work. And we are looking for teachers that are willing to dive in and get their hands dirty, really do what it's going to take to support their students. And to really reach out and to really engage kind of these students and get them to develop that passion for learning. Both that passion for learning in job, but also that passion for their subjects. Like James was talking about, being able to kind of double block those AP classes to get that ability to do experiments in those classes is so critical, because that's really engage those students. And the last 2 things is, I think something that we've hit on a lot tonight, is that true passion for what you do, that passion for teaching, that passion for the students, and just that desire to improve as an educator and work with your colleagues and learn from people from all around the world to say, not just how do I kind of impart my knowledge to these students and impart my passion for students, but how do I continue to grow myself as a teacher? How do I continue to learn from my colleagues and just improve as a craft? The last thing is we're looking for as well is just there are some current visa restrictions. And so we need to make sure we can get all of our teachers the correct Z teaching visas. Because the last thing we ever want to do is put someone in a situation where we aren't able to get them that correct visa. And those visa requirements, they are continually changing. And we're expecting them to continually change throughout this year as we hopefully come out of some of these COVID-related restrictions. And we're hoping those are going to ease up throughout the year, but we have a visa team at every school that knows that province and that city incredibly well, knows who to ask for that help. And they'll help you through that process. They'll reach out to teachers and say, here's the documents that we would need, send them to us and we'll help walk you through this process, because it can be a daunting process. And with it continually changing this year, making sure we can best support you as teachers through that whole process. So it is that smooth transition for you there to Nanjing and to be able to continue on with your career there. So that's kind of a very quick, especially what we're looking for as teachers. Jamie, is there anything else that you would like to add about kind of what's unique about you guys there in Nanjing that you'd be looking for?
I think that in terms of the HR process, in terms of the onboarding, I think that we are, I'm not going to think again, we are the best at what we do. We make sure that our staff, when they arrive, are walked through the process. I've got more than confidence in our operations team and our HR team in terms of working through visa issues and working through getting ourselves on board. We've learned a lot in education across the world in this pandemic. Being IT or being agile with IT is something that we're all becoming much more proficient with. And at the same time, all of the embassies and all of the work to get people where they're capable of walking through the door into Nanjing, everybody's getting better at. So I know that when we look at things, there are, wonderful quarantining issues in coming into any country. I know that in Canada, where my daughter is, I know that if I'm going to go home, I'm facing a couple of weeks of quarantine. I know that those things exist on this side as well. The good news here is that we've been through it. We've practiced. We know what we're in for. So when people come on, their hands are held. So I've often talked to aspiring international educators, and what advice would I give to them? And it's one of the things that you need to look for is a support structure. And one of the biggest advantages of a network is that you bring that support. We have that vast experience and we have multiple eyes on the prize to get people to where they need to be and walk them through the process. So when I look at this list, there are other parts of the process, and that we want to make sure that the visa application process is done as efficiently as possible. And we're looking for people that we know that in our province, in Jiangsu province, which they value education, I firmly believe more than any other province in this country in China, that they are very high in their own standards. And we know that that's the case. So when people come across, it's that they're ready and prepared, and we prepare. And again, it's November the 3rd. And we're talking about September of 2022. So we're way out ahead of the game. We want to make sure that we're preparing ourselves and preparing the people that we're going to bring on board so that they're ready and supported and feeling like this process, as overwhelming as it can be, are supported in it. Yeah.
So some of the things that being a part of a large network is, we're continuing to grow, and a lot of the growth opportunities we kind of touched on. So sharing some of the insights of some of the growth that we'll have, we're going to be opening up new schools. We have over 7 schools planned in the next few years, including schools in Beijing, Shanghai, Tianjin. We'll be opening up a couple of bilingual schools as well, one in Hangzhou and Guangzhou, where we currently have international schools. And we're really looking forward to some of the exciting growth that we have with the schools that are planned and being developed and built at this time. So in terms of being able to find out more information about our schools, about our network, about the experience that our teachers have, please feel free to connect with us through our social channels. You can find us on all the social channels. We also have some good information about careers with Basis on our career site. But I think one of the most insightful things is our blog. On our blog, we do have teachers who share aspects of their experience, what it's like coming over, what it's like teaching with a Basis school, what they've enjoyed, what they've done outside of school, insights of some of their travels around China and so forth. Feel free to take a look. at the blog that we do have, insights on the support that they had through COVID and what that was like. So some really good information you'll be able to glean and gather from our teachers directly themselves on our blog. You can also join our interest list. By joining the interest list, you'll receive occasional updates about developments of new schools we have going on, happenings at the schools, positions that we have open and available, and you'll be able to receive those as they do come out. With that being said, want to touch on some Q&A. So Mike, if you've queued up any of the questions, do you want to run through some of the questions?
Yeah, thank you, Tim. So we have received a couple of questions throughout the webinar. I guess the first one is, with BASIS using that AP curriculum, what about teachers that have experience in the IB, the British, or other types of curriculum from other places around the world?
Do you want me to handle that, Tim?
To touch on that?
Yeah, so for those of you that are not familiar with the AP curriculum, it is a very driven curriculum towards the first year of university studies. So that's basically where the level sits. I've spent more than a decade in the IB. I've spent more than a decade in the Canadian public school system, and the transition from one curriculum to the other is actually not the most difficult thing in the world. I think that what it comes down to is that the AP has its own set of assessments in the spring of each year, and we work towards those assessments. I think that the AP is one of the most easily accessible curricula for a teacher in terms of how to, if you will, when you come out of the IB world or whether you come out of the GCSE and A-level world, the content is still similar. It's the way in which we go about assessment. The AP is very much a be-all, end-all assessment put together by the College Board in the US. But at the same time, it is one of those things that in our system, we are, as Tim put it earlier, accelerating the process. Our students currently face AP Economics as early as grade 9. They face AP World History as early as grade 9. And then in the grade 10 year, they can be facing AP European History, a slew of sciences, AP Physics as early as grade 9 as well. So it comes down to the fact that it's looking at the students that we have and how we're going to drive that forward. It is a really readily accessible program considering the vast nature of our network, because our network stretches much beyond the borders of China and into the US, where our charter schools and our independent schools have been working through the process of developing AP content for years. So it's not new to us. This is not something that someone walks in and is being expected to jump in and figure something out themselves. We have a network of subject advisors that stretch literally across the world, and they are accessible beyond faculty chairs. The great thing about becoming a BASIS teacher is that you're walking into, and as I said it before, a network of support. You've got those of us that are acting as division heads and deans and faculty chairs. Within our network of China alone, we've developed PLCs around each subject matter. We have network-wide meetings on Thursdays where we get together and collaborate about best practice and how those things work. So when it comes to jumping into curricula, I still stand by this, that curricula is there. It's important as to what we're going to pivot off of. But at the same time, it is very much driven by the fact that we have a very strong network of people around them so that you're able to jump in and use your expertise in physics or history or English and drive that forward. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I would kind of add on to that as well. I think one of the strengths we've seen is that passion of our teachers have to adopt and mold that curriculum to best fit their students. What we do now is very different than we did when we first went into China, because the teachers themselves have said, this is what my students need, let me adapt that to meet them. Another question that we had was, what's the maximum class size a teacher can expect in the classes there?
In Nanjing, our max class size, which we don't use, is 25. Right now, across our middle school and high school, the maximum class size is 22 students. So we work really hard to try and keep those numbers down. So 25 is the maximum number, but it is so, and where all of our classrooms are built for, I would say, they're enormous classrooms. So I couldn't tell you what the capacity for them would be if we really wanted to jam people in. But no, 25 is the max, but that's more for planning purposes. Low 20s is where we see things in our high school right now. There's a range. In our AP Physics, I've got an AP Physics class right now with 4 students in it right now because that's what works for them. I've got another AP Physics class with 12 students in them. I've got an AP Chemistry class with 19 students in them. So it really depends on where the sections are. Across our middle school, the average class size is less than 21 students.
And so I guess going off on the average class size, about how many classes do teachers teach and how long are those classes for them every day?
We work, I said it before, we work a long day. Our bus drops the staff off shortly before 7:30 in the morning, and the bus will go back. The shuttle bus goes back at 5 o'clock in the evening. Student hours and other things around it, but the teaching day itself stretches from 8 in the morning till 4:30, depending on what you'll be teaching. And your workload across the week is no more than 1,500 minutes. We use minutes, not hours. We do the math on that divided by 60. What we look at is that teachers will be teaching maximum of 3 preps. So that means no more than 3 preps during any teaching week. Most of our teachers are at 2. And at the same time, you're going to be looking at a day where our 50-minute classes, so not 45, not 60, but 50-minute classes stretch across the day. And you're looking at approximately 4 to 5 classes a day, which means that if we have 8 classes or 8 to 9 classes in the day, that means that you have 3 or 4 times during the day where you have time to recover and prep and get ready. It's a long work week and we do work hard, but at the same time, I have worked in places where the hours have been much longer in terms of actual contact time. We have, depending on the subject itself, the structuring of the week works differently. So for instance, as I mentioned earlier, our AP scientists are teaching those students 4 times a week with 1 double block. But in the middle school, because they're taking 3 sciences in grade 6, 7, and 8, so they take biology, chemistry, and physics, they're seeing those subjects 3 times a week. So some teachers are seeing their classes 3 times a week. Some teachers are seeing them 5 times a week. So really dependent on who you are. If you're in the primary, again, a whole different slew of scheduling. We have scheduled blocks of longer stretches, but we have multiple teachers coming into the same space. So on average, start to finish with your job and all of the things that go around it, it's about 1,500 minutes per week.
Thank you. I think we had one final question is, so if a teacher has a degree in their subject area, do they need a teaching certification to be able to teach with BASIS, or will a CELTA or a TESOL do instead of a teaching certification?
One of the things that we require for the visa is that they have 2 years experience. So that's one of the things that comes to the forefront right away when we're looking at things. We have several staff members who are here with their PhD, their master's degree in a specific subject matter, and have had that experience to be able to bring us through to be able to get them a visa. One of the things that we do at Nanjing that we're much more aggressive about than most of the other schools is that we have hired teachers that are not certified teachers that we've been able to do it, but we've also pushed them to become certified teachers. So we're actually working on engaging with them to start exploring how that looks for them and growing. So no, you don't need to have a teaching certificate to be considered for a position in our network. But at the same time, because of the visa issues, there does need to be that experience behind you so that we can actually look at generating those visas to get you ready for work. But again, in Nanjing, one of the things we really want people to do is to look at their own growth. Currently on our staff, we have 3 different staff members who are working on their British teaching certification, their PGCE, as we're working through, and we're mentoring them through that process. We have another teacher last year who completed their American teaching certificate while they were working. We do want to grow as an educational network, and one of the things that we are really proud of in Nanjing is that we're, again, growing as educators. So if you're not qualified, passionate, qualified, or capable, ready, and wanting to jump in, one of the things we're going to be looking for is that potential for growth as well.
Thank you. And I guess we did just get one last question as well. So with our students being largely second language learners, in the primary schools, is there a co-teacher to help the students with Mandarin? and help the teacher to connect with their students at that young age.
Yeah, we run what's called a co-teaching model in the primary, right up to grade 5. We have 2 labels. They're basis-based labels. One's an SET and one's an LET. SET is your subject expert teacher, and your LET is your learning expert teacher. For us, that LET focus point is they are Chinese national. They are fluent in both English and Chinese. So their main focus point in those primary classrooms up to grade 5 is to bridge the gap on language in the most crucial settings. That doesn't shy us away from our need and our want to have our SETs ready to scaffold and differentiate and be ready to build those language skills. But at the same time, we have those other teachers in the classroom as well, able to help. One of the talents that they hold, and they are an incredibly, I will say this, any other place people would walk in and assume that the LET is the person that's that instructional assistant. And that's no way, shape, or form what we are. We have 2 people in the room that are highly qualified. These are the most highly qualified secondary person in a classroom I have ever been a part of. I bar none. Our LETs are the most qualified people on God's green earth, and they are ready to jump in and be a part of. And they are, again, fluent in both languages, aspiring to be teachers, young people who are ready to bridge the gap and are local in terms of their nationality, so that they're able to help with the communication with parents, to help with the communication with students, to help with communication with deans and other people as well in terms of what those needs are. Because our young people, especially the pre-K, early years group up to grade 5, they don't have the coping mechanisms that we would hope for in highly driven middle school and high school students. So yeah, we do have that secondary person in the classroom, but they hold quite an important role with us and are contributing part of the instruction and a contributing part of the management and framework of the classes and transitions between them.
Thank you, Jamie. I think that was about all the questions we got this evening. So thank you very much, Jamie.
My pleasure. I again, opportunity to talk and be proud of our place. I'll do that in spades.